You're listening to English with Monty, the podcast about the English language. Today is 8 Minute English, talking about when to use adjectives or adverbs, part 1. Hello there, this is 8 Minute English, and we're going to talk about a good subject today. What's the difference between an adjective and an adverb? So I've got Gideon with me, who sometimes struggles with 8 minutes, but I think he should be okay today. Hello, Gideon.
Hello, John. Good to be back with you.
Good to be back with you too. Let's have a quick rundown of adjectives and adverbs. Why are they often confused in grammar? And I suppose they are both words that describe other words, right?
Yeah, there's a clue in the word adverb because it sort of describes a verb, usually, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Usually.
Can be an adjective, yeah.
But it can
describe
an adjective or an adverb, another adverb, can't it, as well?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially. I suppose an adjective would describe only nouns, and then an adverb can describe a verb, an adjective, or other adverbs.
Yeah, he ran. How did he run? The run is a verb. He ran quickly. The book, the big book. I think the listeners would know that already.
I would have thought so.
So. Same in their own language.
I suppose it is, isn't it? Are they often confused? Do you find they're confused? Good or well can be confused.
Yeah, a few of them. That's a good example. Mm-hmm. A few could be confused, good and well. But maybe it depends on what's in their own language as well. Sometimes they may be translated differently. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Let's look at some examples.
They've got an example here. So we're just using Grammarly. It's talking about the smelly, wet, brown dog. The adjective describes only nouns, including pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a noun like dog, you can give more details about adding adjectives. Actually, I spoke about this with Jules in the modifiers episode that I've just released. So if you're keen on thinking about adjective order, then that's a key one to listen to. Because smelly, wet, brown dog, the adjective order there is correct, isn't it?
I'm very bad with the order. I never put more than two adjectives together, really.
I suppose as native speakers, we don't generally, though, do we?
Yeah, exactly.
It is important to know the order, isn't it? You wouldn't say brown, smelly, wet dog.
I would say this dog is smelly, wet, and brown.
Okay.
Or this dog is wet, smelly, and brown. Then it works anyway. This one has to go with this color goes before opinion and.
So definitely. I think that is the way around it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Here it says sometimes multiple words work together to describe a noun. So an adjective phrase, it's called. Quantum physics is too complicated to understand. An adjective phrase, that's a curious one, isn't it? Mm-hmm. How often do you speak about that when you speak to students? I don't tend to speak about that very often, to be honest.
No, not really. There's no need to name all these parts of speech sometimes. Mm-hmm. As long as they're getting it correctly. Putting things in the right place. Mm-hmm. Like a very well, for example, that would be an adverbial phrase, wouldn't it? French speakers always put it before the noun. Mm-hmm. He speaks very well English. I said, no, the adverbial phrase, very well, goes after the noun. Occasionally, you'd use it all the time. You get bogged down with all these terms in the class.
No, I understand that. I suppose certainly at a higher level, if you do want to put labels on them and talk about that element, that can be quite useful, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this example is quite a good one.
Okay.
Adverbs commonly used to describe verbs, in fact. So she works quietly all afternoon. He always showers after the gym. So always is an adverb of frequency, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And they tend to come before.
So I think that's a key one to think about because sometimes you have people putting it in the wrong position, don't you? Saying always he showers after the gym. In the English language, particularly with always, it would really be put in that position after the subject before the verb, and you wouldn't really put it at the front or at the end. Whereas if you have usually or sometimes, you can do that, can't you? Mm-hmm. You can say sometimes he showers after the gym. He sometimes showers after the gym, or he showers after the gym. Sometimes.
That's true. Yeah. More flexibility.
It just underlines, it emphasizes things a bit more, doesn't it? If you do that, it puts more focus on the word sometimes.
Yeah. In order to better understand this, you need to do this. In order to understand this better, you need to do this. Because in that way, better could go before or afterwards.
It can count it because there's more emphasis on it depending on when you put it. You've got special adverbs like really or very that could describe other adverbs. Very quietly, almost always, or really good, or really well, you would say, wouldn't you, rather than really good?
This was really good. It depends. If you're talking about the food was really good. performed really well. This sounds good. Sounds really good.
So you can use it on both.
If it's for the senses, it would be really good. So it sounds good. It sounds really good. You look good today.
Thank you very much.
But you look well means you look healthy. It would be quite a different thing, wouldn't it?
It is a very different thing, isn't it? That good, to say good or well. This would be a common problem. You look good.
Tastes good. All the senses, you'd use good. This tastes good, not taste well.
I wouldn't say you look really good to you. I would tend to say you look really well, not really too enamored with your looks.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm worried about your health.
Thank you.
Adverbs can also describe adjectives, specifying a degree of intensity or frequency. A very large man in a really small chair. So obviously, yes, this is creating a degree of intensity here, making it more descriptive, isn't it? And then I don't
think I have anything to add on that one.
No, there's not much to add, is there?
This is a really good podcast.
Thank you very much.
You put the really before. You're a very kind man, Jon.
Wow, okay. Thank you. What do you want? You seem to be very nice to me at the moment. So if you have an adjective with calm, for example, then to make it into an adverb, what would you do?
You place an ly after it.
You do indeed, don't you? And that's a fairly standard rule, isn't it? Not with every word, is it? But most words, you could add an ly and change it into an adverb.
A few exceptions. You work hard, not you work hardly. It's hardly a different meaning. You hardly work. Hard is an adverb. They're both adverbs. But hard means to a high degree, and hardly work, which goes before, means almost not at all. Be careful of these things.
That's a curious one, isn't it? Because it seems a bit, what do you call that? Paradox? Is that correct?
Confusing, I'd say. On top of that, you have ly adjectives. There are quite a few of those. Friendly is a very common one, isn't it?
That's true.
The guy walked friendlily. He walked friendly. No. I'm confused now. He spoke to me friendly. He spoke to me friendly. What? He spoke to me friendlily? No. Friendly is the adjective. You have to say in a friendly way. Oh, I see. Okay. He spoke to me in a friendly way. That's what you often get confused. They forget that friendly is an adjective. You wouldn't say friendlily because it sounds a bit weird. So you have to say it in a different way, in a friendly way. Same with lovely. Does she talk to me lovely? No, lovelily. No, in a lovely way.
But that is a confusing one, though, isn't it? Because as you say, typically an adverb would come with the ly, but these are the exceptions, aren't they? It's curious, isn't it, that we say in a lovely way, in a friendly way. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, there are quite a few ly adjectives. So you have to be careful of those.
Thanks for listening. That was part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. You've been listening to 8 Minute English.